Thank you, everyone. This is my first time talking here, so depending how this goes, you probably might never hear from me again. But nonetheless, before I start, I just want to get the legalities out of the way and just say the thoughts and opinions in this talk do not reflect the Cambridge Buddhist Center, the Sub30's committee, or Phoebe Thomas, who invited me. As always, viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so now that I've said that, I can say whatever I want. It doesn't reflect on anyone. Great. So we're here. Why am I a Mitra? That's a very existential question for me. The year was 2023, and I was in South Africa, and I'd sort of reached the height of what mimetic achievements you could have. I was an attorney in a very cushy job, and yeah, I was working. My parents were very happy. Everyone was proud of me. You know, who's a good little lawyer? You're a good little lawyer. And I felt so incredibly unfulfilled in my life. I felt something was missing, and at the same time, I couldn't explain it to anyone, especially in a country, third world country, where there's a lot of poverty. How can you complain? You've got everything. You've got a job. You're the guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm sad. Just suck it up, you know? Go buy something. But it wasn't enough. So I just sort of took a bit of a left turn, an off-ramp, looking for a job in the UK. So I was looking to expand, to find the thing that was missing. And I sort of had an idea that it was spiritual. That was the thing that was missing. So then I came to the Cambridge Buddhist Center. I landed in November, and that same week, I came to the Cambridge Buddhist Center. It was a Thursday, I remember. And then Alan was there, and he persuaded me to join there's a funnel, there's a whole plan. Like, you go into the Sub30's, you go to a couple of retreats, and before you know it, you're speaking here. There's a whole funnel. It was amazing. And I was looking for, and basically the decision that made me become a Mitra was trying to deepen my spiritual practice. Now, don't get me wrong, you can have a spiritual practice without being a Mitra. So I'm not going to sell that. I mean, the center has, Dharma nights on Tuesday, meditation nights on Thursday, retreat centers, other Buddhist centers, seminars, POC spaces. There's so many things happening here. And, you can have those pockets of peace, pockets of inspiration, pockets of connectiveness. But I wanted to really deepen my knowledge so that I could take it and then transform my life. So I decided, to become a Mitra, to which, a good question would be, okay, but Phinda, what sort of transformation did you go through? That's a great question, Tom. I'm glad you asked that question. It's a brilliant question. I like this guy. And the sort of transformation came, so some of it that I could visibly see that I'm a little bit different, because as much as I joke, one of my sort of flaws is I'm very petty, right? I'm very funny petty, right? So it almost goes unnoticed. And I remember I was in South Africa, and I had a very difficult boss at the time, and there was an announcement. They had gone through a personal bereavement, and it was, mentioned in the office. Like, oh, the boss is not coming, there's a personal bereavement, And everyone was a bit silent because, you know, there wasn't really that sort of like sympathy for the boss because of sort of like how everyone felt. And, you know, being me, I started humming, right? And I started humming. It was, it was basically what I was humming, what I was feeling, the gut feeling that I was feeling inside when I heard that my boss couldn't come in was, because I'm happy, clap along if you feel that happiness is the truth. You see, you know what I mean? So, you know, and that sort of pettiness, I thought it was normal to be able, I feel good when something bad happens to someone who's bad. I feel like the universe is balanced. And it's the same sort of situation that we're seeing nowadays with, you know, the death of Charlie Kirk. For those of you who don't know, Charlie Kirk was a right-wing political activist who was assassinated in a campus in Utah on the 10th of September. My Metta Bhavana practice helped me sort of crystallize in my mind that celebrating and rejoicing the suffering of another human being cannot sort of help you progress. It doesn't better your situation, and it makes the world a worse off place. That's something I would have never said before. I would have said, yeah, that's what you get. But, you know, after going to Mitra studies, speaking about the interconnectedness of humans and practicing the Metta Bhavana, for those of you who don't know, the Metta Bhavana is a practice of love and kindness for yourself and for other people, specifically difficult people as well, as part of that list. So you can't exclude them. So that was that transformation that I went through, is to feel love and wish everyone well without the condition of you have to treat me well. So that was a transformation, and that was the main reason. The second reason was just, I became a Mitra, was joining the Sangha. It's just, there's so many lovely people that you meet, and just being part of teams as well. I know I don't respond in the text. My comms are awful. You know, but, you know, no one made me feel bad about it. I felt very accepted. I've really enjoyed working on a project with people. The other ordained members in the center are amazing, wise, and really, you know, advanced in their spiritual journey. So I've gained so much wisdom from that. So basically what I'm saying in closing, to summarize, because I've said a lot, I became a Mitra because I wanted to deepen my spiritual practice, but I remain a Mitra because of the amazing people in this room that I get to connect with and develop with, and I'm extremely grateful. Thank you.